Good evening, dear teacher. My name is Santiago Pina, and I'm going to analyze and explain my lesson plan 2, how I'm designing my lesson plan. The theme on this lesson plan of this class is the lesson 3, be a smart teach user, writing a report. The grade that is designed is lesson plan is for first year of senior high school. The duration of class is 45 minutes. The proficiency level is elementary. The EFL objectives are first give instructions to use technology. We will be able to write a report regarding an item they have used. Also, we're going to can describe your views regarding an electronic article or give our point of view about an article, analyze the data so that it can be integrated into a report. The methodology and strategies that I'm going to use in my lesson plan are the direct method, the suggestive method, and the grammar translation method. The strategies which I work in my class are individual work because I'm going to ask my students in certain activities work in individual way. Also, I'm going to give to my students realize written exercise. We also are going to establish dialogues in certain parts of my class. I'm going to also ask to my students um, that give me a written lesson. That all of it I'm going to explain continuation. Anticipatory sets. The class begins with the teacher briefing his students, and then the teacher introduces them to the subject of the study by asking them how many electronic devices do you have in your homes? What kind of electronic device do you have? And in this part, I'm going to establish a little bit dialogue with my students in which we can share ideas or points of view. Main teaching input. The teacher will begin to address the subject of the study by starting by reading the words of the first exercise to match the words with their respective definitions. Here I'm going to use the direct method because students in English have to infer the the meaning of the words to realize the activity. Afterwards, the students carry out the following exercise to put each word with a graphic that is related. Suggestive method is used here because they have to analyze the graphics. Suggestive method has to be with analysis of images or graphics. The following caption will be read in order with the teacher's help to decide which paragraph fits. Choose which paragraph fits with the information which will be filled with true or false. The following exercise using the information from the previous section. Yeah, if we read the caption, my students can answer the questions of the activity number 4 that consists in respond or answer the with true or false every of these sentences that we have here on our book. Also, we will continue with the next exercise where the teacher and students will read each paragraph, and once this is done, place title of the words in the word bank. Yeah, and next we are going to read the words of the word bank with each word. we're going to fill the activity number 5. Students are asked to pay attention to explanations that will be given by the teacher, where he briefly explains what a report consists of and how to write it, showing why it is no longer composed and what each of its parts contains, with certain tips that will help to my students and better understand. It is a grammar translation because only I'm going to give my students some tips that I'm learning about how to understand better. Then the students will proceed to fill in blanks of the following exercise, where looking at the part of the example they will fill in each literal. The next is modeling, that we have to rise interested in the subject. Students will observe another example in the form of a report slides. Yes, I'm going to show to my students another kind of report that I'm previously selected to share with my class. This new example will be reviewed with the teacher, where students have the opportunity to clear up certain doubts and concerns regarding the topic that was learned in class. In the guided practice, the student will work individually to develop an activity, where the teacher will give them a handout with an example of the report, replace it in this order, then in order, then in their the students will proceed to analyze. After this, they will transcribe all the parts of the report assigned in order. The report will be ordered by the teacher on the blackboard and in order, and the students must review their success on their notebooks and correct their errors. Yes, my students have to order the example of report that I'm going to give them, and after that we're going to review the activity. The independent practice. This activity consists in that the students were provided with information previously selected by the teacher. I'm going to share with my students information. After having read the information, the students will have to make a small report, where they will have to avoid committing of spelling and pronunciation production errors, because I'm going to make sure if students has no students have avoid committing or spelling errors in grammar or structures. In the number 9, we have assessment. The students must do a short lesson where they must answer questions that are related to the parts of a report and other topics covered in class, such as vocabulary. Yes, in a way to measure the acknowledgement of my students, I'm going to give them a short lesson in which I'm going to measure their acknowledgement, and the questions that is in my lesson is about only of the topics that we review on the class. To develop this activity, a specific time of 10 minutes will be given, where the students will work individually and in silence while the teacher monitors that the activity is carried out in this way. And finally, to finish the class, we have that the class concludes by reinforcing everything learned, where the students will clear doubts and concerns regarding something that they did not fully understand, so that it is completely clear to them. And the students are assigned a homework assignment, where they will have to investigate more about which electronic device use more energy. Also, they have to investigate which electronic device use less energy. Based on this, they have to write a little report with the results of their investigations. That is all in this lesson plan, and thanks for watching.